Folks, it is 8:15 Eastern Standard Time here in Central Florida. Welcome back to the Weather Center, and I'm going to apologize right out of the gate if I seem a little more low energy today. It has been a busy one, but it is Wednesday. It's Wednesday night, and we have to get on here and talk severe weather because we have a lot of it. We have some pretty huge designations out there currently from Storm Prediction Center, and as a result, we're going to talk you through it step by step and break down not only what's going to be happening through this weekend and into the first day of April, but we're also tracking a couple of other systems in the pattern that could play a role in our weather across the central and eastern United States. I should say the entirety of the United States, because we had some severe weather up in the Pac Northwest with this feature as well, and a couple of other ones out there right now, as a matter of fact. So we're going to talk about all of that. Good evening, everybody. Chris Mizell, Carlos, Claire, good to see you in the chat. Samuel Reed, hello there. Mr. Man JJ. Mike, good old friend from New Orleans. Notification final, let you know we are back in business. Linda, hello there. Good evening. And everybody else who may be tuning in, go ahead and nudge that button now. If you're brand new to the channel, click that subscribe button. We are going to be activating more and more content as we go over the next several days, several weeks. It is also March 26th, which means, as LUH Jr. in the chat just mentioned, we will be unveiling more information about the hurricane season. But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. Let's talk severe weather, and let's start off with our water vapor satellite shot. So right out of the gate, couple things I want you to see. First and foremost, we have a storm system that continues to move further and further into the Atlantic. This is what had spawned in pretty widespread showers and thunderstorms over the central and eastern Gulf of Mexico. A few of you guys over on Instagram, on TikTok, etc., let me know about that. And I know that Wesh Tony Manolfi, the chief meteorologist over at Wesh 2, had shared an image of just how intense the lightning was with this feature before it died off as it made its way closer to our west coast. We didn't really get very much of it. In fact, we haven't had very much rain in a consistent amount of time. We had some storms break out yesterday in southern Osceola, the southernmost periphery of Brevard County here in central Florida, and then further off towards the southeast, closer to West Palm, Boca Raton. I don't know why I said Pocono. Wow, you can tell I'm tired. I'm thinking about a mountain range way outside of central Florida. So that has finally moved off into the Atlantic, possibly still bringing some hazardous weather conditions to the Turks and Caicos Islands out there in the southeast corner there of that island chain extending from the Bahamas. You can see a little area of active thunderstorms ongoing there, unzipping as that pattern continues to move off towards the east. Then we have this guy right here out over central Texas, southern Texas, getting ready to cross over the mountain range of northern Mexico. This is a nice upper-level shortwave trough. That's what's going to help to instigate some of the very, I won't say weird, but just a very particular shot at severe weather for the south. Daniel Schwartz, welcome in. It's great to see you as well. Brady G111, look at the storm in the northwest. Looks like a hurricane. Not really. Not too much. The northwest. It kind of looks more like a subtropical system, but that is a very, very aggressive deep occluded low pressure system, and we'll transition over to that in a second. But we have one shortwave trough here, another one right back behind that, and then we have this monstrosity of an upper level system slash surface low that's helping to really kick off severe weather action for Northern California, probably instigate a really solid downsloping event for the Sierra Nevadas and Western Nevada. Oregon, Washington State going to be bleeding over into Idaho here very soon, and you can actually see some pretty good convection firing in the southern periphery of the Front Range of Colorado, the northeast corner of New Mexico, and that is going to continue to transition off towards the east. It's going to be wave after wave, 1, 2, and then finally 3, and then 4 in rapid succession of one another, and I'll show you that here right now. But before we do that, let's head out over to the west so we can take a look at that deep occluded low pressure system. We'll switch over to our mid-level water vapor shot, and there you have it. Extremely deep low pressure area. You can see the center right in through here. Excellent channel of dry air supported by the jet stream, a powerful jet stream. This is what's going to help to instigate our severe weather pattern across the rest of the United States. And that's why over the Cascades, the White Mountains up here in the Pac Northwest, they have that severe risk. I believe it is still ongoing, a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather and supercell activity out there. So the 25th OWS, my old compatriots down there in Tucson, probably have their hands full. Thankfully, not a huge slew of moisture with this one, though, however, because this would be a textbook Pineapple Express setup. Now, we could probably still be getting some heavier rainfall in Northern California, but this doesn't quite look as impressive as previous setups we've seen during the past winter and then even before that. So now, let's move on to Storm Prediction Center. If you look at day 1, there you have it. There's that severe risk through Idaho and the Pacific Northwest states, Washington and Oregon. And then we also have that small sliver of a level 1 risk down in southern Texas. Like I said, it's not that it's weird, it's just you don't typically see these small clusters of severe risks in those designated regions. And then for day 2, like I said, we're going to cascade, no pun intended, off towards the right. We're going to have a level 2 risk for parts of Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, the same general areas, the lower Midwest into the lower Great Lakes. And then down there still even more, got that level 2 risk and elevated risk down there for Brownsville, Corpus Christi. Not crispy. That is infamous on this channel. And then finally on day 3, we begin to see that taper off as the pattern more or less resets and we welcome in our next severe weather maker. If you look here at the extended outlook for day 5, we have a whopper of a region highlighted here. And remember, the 15% risk that's designated on days 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, they're level 2 or greater. That's what they're equivalent to if they were in the days 1, 2, and 3 threshold. But since they're so far out, you get that blanket 15%. And as a result, Storm Prediction Center wants you aware that this would be equal to or greater than a level 2 slight risk. So this is for day 5, and then day 6 was a bit of a curveball for some of us. We now have a severe risk continuing for the boot of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, but now we've also encompassed the upper periphery of the Central Florida Peninsula, the Mid-Atlantic, up into Virginia, Maryland, parts of Delaware, and this could extend even further towards the north. And then after that, predictability gets too low with the next upcoming systems, but these could be adjusted as we go over the next couple of days. So now let's get into some of our more recent model data. This is the afternoon update of the European model. There is a bit of a split I'm going to show you between the GEFS and the European ensemble. Looking long range at the pattern for the first half of April, there's a bit of a discrepancy, and we'll talk about that, and that could have some weird evolutions in what our models, at least on the deterministic side here, begin to spit out. Both of them, however, do indicate that we're going to have repetitive systems moving eastward across the U.S., and we'll go ahead and watch that as we move through time now. So this is as we go through the day tomorrow. You can see the couple of areas of severe weather potential. There's that one cluster there, and then one cluster here. And the reason there could be severe weather in both of these locations, first and foremost, we have obviously that lee side troughing that will occur on the lee of the mountains in northern Mexico. Going to dry out the low levels of the environment alongside that short wave that's up there at 500 millibars. We have a lot of warmth down there with good moisture coming in out of the warm Gulf, so naturally that is a collision point for all those ingredients to come together and create a little bit of disturbed weather. And then believe it or not, if you look very closely, and I know it might just look like a bunch of garbled lines, colors, and different psychedelic shapes, but with this deepening low pressure moving out of parts of Wyoming and Montana, we actually have a cold frontal boundary sneaking through the pattern over the central Rockies, and this entire area is acting like a warm front. Just a giant warm sector. And if you notice, right along where that boundary could exist, we get those frontal thunderstorms that kind of kick off in the warm quadrant of this system. And that's also because, or I should say that's all due in part because of this high pressure we have right off the mid-Atlantic coast just stirring the pot, that clockwise motion around the high, just dragging everything right up into the central United States. And I'll show you the pattern here momentarily once we get through the rest of the loop. And then you can see as that low continues to accelerate off towards the east, we get a bit of a wintry mix up there for the Great Lakes, the southern Canadian provinces up there from about Manitoba, or no, excuse me, that's Saskatchewan, Ontario, and Quebec. Lots of potential sleet or freezing rain right over the Great Lakes, the upper portion of the Michigan Peninsula, and then the rest of us are going to get your rainfall. Then we have this one here that's going to eject out of the Rockies, move right into the Central Plains, and tap into what's left of our shortwave and our return flow coming in out of the Gulf and out of the Caribbean. And as that happens, that's when we really get, there's your day 4 risk. That's the day 4 risk that's highlighted by Storm Prediction Center, expected to start on Saturday and move into Sunday. Now we have a massive storm system that's elongated from Wisconsin down to the Gulf coastline into the Florida Panhandle, and it sticks around from there because we get another little encouragement of shortwave energy in the pattern, another little whisper of a shortwave trough, I should say a minor shortwave trough in the pattern right in through there that helps to regurgitate or refire up the activity out there. So we have this extending across the eastern seaboard, and then we have something reinforcing the pattern with a little bit of a cold push back behind it, still helping to tap into the warm return flow that's coming in out of the Gulf. So this whole area is just going to get aggravated because of the temperature gradient across there. If you look, we have a pretty substantial gradient as well, because the rule of thumb is warmer air obviously is taller. If you think about it three-dimensionally, it expands the atmosphere like a rubber or a plastic. And as such, you don't have as sharp of a gradient when looking at the heights. So if you watch, or I should say if you look, notice how from here, there's one thickness line, then there's one here, then there's one way down here, and then there's one way down here, your 576 decameter line. That's your warm sector, your warm quadrant right in through there. Now, if I were to circle or highlight the cold sector, watch how much closer they're pinpointed or they're bunched up. There's one there, one there, one there, one there, and so on and so forth. You see the difference? That's your discontinuity. Right here, you can argue a perfect case for there being some pretty significant weather action. Same thing with down here with all that shortwave energy aloft that's going to be moving through the pattern over Florida and up the mid-Atlantic coast, which is why we likely got that day 6 threat. I know a lot of colors, a lot of craziness going on, just trying to break it down to the best of my ability. And then if we fast forward from there, we get another shot of energy through the pattern right there. Look at that, a 989 millibar low right over Nebraska. Same setup, a textbook setup. There's your low pressure system. There's your cold front coming across, and then you have your warm sector right in through there getting ready to create all kinds of havoc. This whole sector right through there is going to be your severe weather quadrant, and you can see if we go over or go forward a couple panels, bam, 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 there it goes, right in that warm sector. Your low pressure begins to slowly start to occlude. There's your cold front stacking back. There's your warm sector creating all kinds of wintry chaos for the Great Lakes. Same aforementioned area thanks to that negative PNA that's in place. I'll show you the upper level heights and we can break that down together. So this is probably going to be another severe weather event for April 2nd through the 4th. Right there, we'll go forward into the 4th, and you can see an extension of that all the way down through, yes, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama into Florida. And then don't stop holding on to your butts quite yet, because after that we have another system that works its way through the pattern. However, I think this one is going to be adjusted. If you follow me over on TikTok, I said the same exact thing, and this is where we start to get a bit of that discontinuity between our models. Some models continue to hold that negative PNA. This indication here, this setup, if this low were to form way down to the south like that, that would indicate that aloft we have our jet now digging in way to the south, getting rid of that negative PNA. And the European model does want to dissipate it as we get into the second week of April, and I'll show you that here in a moment. So this one, stand by. It's still far out. This is April 6th going into April 7th. We got a lot of lead time to get ahead of this, and there will be adjustments. We're so far out of the loop that that's going to change. We could see a retrograde back to the north, or if that negative PNA with the dominant ridge out east over here breaks down, it could try to slide more south into the pattern. This could be a tornado event for us in the southeast, especially given how much of the instability is expected to build back in. Look at that. Very, very good values across the south. For my buddy out there, Mike in New Orleans, looking pretty solid. And even here in Central Florida, we have some really high CAPE amounts as that system works through. So we're going to watch that very closely. Here's a look at the latest 18 Zulu GFS. I know we have a different shading of colors on here. These are your 500 millibar heights. upper portion of the atmosphere with your winds to show you where your jet maxes are. And then the different colors here are going to be your spin and your lift in the atmosphere. You can see a prominent ridge really beginning to work its way through the central United States. Here's that embedded shortwave, or a couple of those embedded shortwaves. We have one right there, negatively tilted, getting ready to move through the south, and then another one moving through Baja California and then into upper Mexico. Those are the ones that are going to tap into what's expected to come across the pattern. And look at that in rapid succession, folks. That's pretty impressive. We have a short wave there, a short wave there, a short wave there, a short wave there, a little minor feature there, a little minor feature there. So we have a very active pattern as that ridge tries to build in across the eastern half of the United States. There's your big A, your anticyclone, spinning right there. That's what saved us from Raphael and who else was it? Sarah at the end of last hurricane season. This negative PNA pattern definitely saved us from the last couple of impacts from the hurricane season. If it weren't for the negative PNA, Florida wouldn't have got 5 systems last year. Mark my words. Pardon me, I needed some water and I see some stuff popping in the chat. April Claremont, welcome back. And that's, wow, okay, so your uncle passed away. I'm very sorry to hear that. My condolences to you and your family. I hope that you're doing okay. And definitely leave a comment in the comments section or reach out to me privately on social media if you just need someone to lean on. Reach out to any of us, as a matter of fact, because we're all a community here. So if you feel the need to talk and just want to have a conversation, I'm sure all of us could get together and help you out on that one. Which, by the way, speaking of getting together, we got to hit that like button. We only got 10 likes in here, and we need to get this channel back on par. So truthfully, this is the time where I really need your help. If you're in the live stream right now, intimate crowd, my severe weather live streams never do good. I don't know why, but either way, I need you all to hit that like button as fast as you can. Give it that little nudge, and let's get those likes up because both my buddy Jonathan and myself are struggling with our channels because we've been inconsistent. So yes, it's self-inflicted, but I'm going to need your all's help to get this channel back in business. Robbie Lynn McCrary, good to see you as well. Brady G111, once again, good to see you. What causes an anticyclone? Well, it's just higher heights in the atmosphere. That's all. And the higher heights are usually produced by warmer temperatures. So wherever you have an upper-level anticyclone, you can usually identify an area of really good warmth. Same thing with an actual cyclone or an upper-level low with lower heights, you usually have colder temperatures. So as we go further in time, look at all those little look at this pattern here. That is unbelievable. We have a little one there, 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 a little one there. We have short waves everywhere. This is why we're going to be seeing a lot of action as we go through the first half of April. And it doesn't stop from there. If you look, as I continue to fast forward beyond April 1st, we get another slew of short waves. We have 3 of them right in through here in rapid succession of one another, just right on top of each other. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is because even though this does look like a very active upper-level pattern, because everything is in so close proximity to one another, it might not also trigger a tremendous amount of severe weather. We're going to have to reset the atmosphere. When one system goes through, there's going to be a bit of a lull. And then after that, we get a really solid dose of troughing across the United States. We'll have to see if this trends because this could most definitely be another significant severe weather event. And then if you look right in through here, our PNA is still holding strong. This is what the GFS thinks, but the Euro is on the opposite end of the spectrum. So notice how as we get towards April 6th, there's nothing down in the southeast. It's much further towards the north. And obviously I drew a big X, but even though the low is here, it could be anywhere where my X is drawn because of where the jet is positioned. So there's the huge discrepancy. Beyond April 5th, beyond April 6th, that's when the models become very split. And I'll just take you right on over to that right now. If you look at the GFS actually reinforces our negative Pacific North American oscillation as we go through the first couple of days of April. And then by the 6th, we try to retrograde out of it, but regardless, we're still not going back into positive territory. And just to give you that friendly reminder, when we talk PNA, a negative PNA would be big old ridge over the east and then a large trough over the west. And then you flip it. when you're in a positive phase. So when we're in a positive phase, we usually have the cold air rushing down out east, and we have the warmth surging up over the west. Right now, we're flipped. We're in the negative phase, so we have all the warmth building in over the east, and that's why we're resulting in such prolific and widespread severe weather threats. Now, if I switch this over to the euro, bam, massive difference. Look at that. Huge difference. So we do reinforce the negative PNA, but then we rapidly go into a positive phase, and we're expecting a big dip in the jet stream out over the central and eastern half of the United States. The North Atlantic oscillation remains the same, however. If you look at both ensemble models here, we actually stay in about a negative, if not a neutral phase as we go through, and the euro actually keeps us a bit more in that negative phase, which could indicate a greater risk for severe weather because these systems are going to be a lot more progressive as they move across the lower 48. So I don't know. We're going to have to see how this modifies, because this is the kicker here. We go positive there, but then if I switch us back to the GFS, look at that. Massive difference. Very much so a difference. So we'll have to wait and see. Hang on a second. Did that just update? Do my eyes... Can someone correct me in the chat? Did this just update? Or am I losing it? I'm about to rewind my live stream and see this. Because weren't we just down in the negative territory, and now all of a sudden the control... You know what? Never mind. It's been a very long day. I'm extremely tired. Regardless, this is what we want to see. We want to see this consistency between our models. So we'll have to see. This is going to be your European ensemble for 18 Zulu, and I know this might be a bit difficult to see, but the main reason I have this pulled up is to fully identify that big old subtropical ridge that's essentially going to dominate the East United States, and it shows perfectly in your cape here. As you go forward into this weekend, look at just how much of that flow establishes itself over the United States, pretty much the entirety of the eastern United States. Let me take this, and I'm going to make it huge. Let's see, there we go. I'm going to have to remember to shrink this back down. If not, you're not going to be able to see anything. But if you look at each of our individual ensemble members, just look at how much buoyancy we have across the U.S., that definitely indicates to me that we have a dominant ridge right off our east coast, if not off our southeast coast. Because what's happening is we have huge areas of high pressure. I'll draw it in. I'm going to look up, so I apologize for the weird, unflattering perspective you all can see, but I'm going to draw on my large screen here. We have our large anticyclone just rotating around, and if you look at where my arrow is drawn, we have all that tropical, subtropical air with an increase in moisture, a nice increase in lift and buoyancy moving in on the western half of that high pressure there. And the model does a fantastic job of showing the floodgate open with that negative PNA pattern. You can make a case that right there is the outer periphery of your ridge, and then over the western United States, which is why you have basically no instability, is the trough extending down over the Rockies because it's driving wind flow out of the northwest like so. You're not going to drag in any instability like that. You're going to have to watch and wait and see. You guys can't see that, can you? No, I drew that up on the other screen there. Crap. There we go. You can draw your upper level pattern there. I do apologize. It's been a very long day. I feel like I am so scatterbrained right now. This is one of my lower quality live discussions, but I'm sure you're all picking up the pattern here, picking up what I'm putting down. All right, let's focus up. Let's focus up because I keep also glancing at the chat, and I see that we're talking tropics for some reason. Tropics and winter weather. Winter is done. It's over with. So here is your cape going back through the European model, the deterministic model, and you can see all that wonderful return flow making its way into the United States just in time for the weekend. So to give you a general timetable, I do think that as we go through the second half of Saturday, that is when the Great Plains and the Southern Plains are going to go off. Then from there, as we go through Sunday, we're going to have the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Ohio and Mississippi valleys. And then from there, as we go through late Sunday into Monday, That's when we get down into the southeast and up the east coast. Yes, I'm using WeatherBell. I get a free subscription with News 6. And I don't know if I would say a Nino is coming, truthfully. I don't see an El Nino blossoming. I think we're going to stay right in that neutral territory. I noticed a lot of the other big brains are also thinking we're going to stay in neutral territory. In fact, a lot of our models have trended away from an El Nino forming up out there. We're not even in neutral territory just yet. We are, but we aren't, and the atmosphere still kind of resembles that of a La Nina pattern as well. You're right, Robbie Lynn. The AI models as well. I looked at those earlier this evening, and the AI model is also calling for the several patches of severe weather action. It's going to be busy. As long as we have this negative PNA pattern in place, even the AI model actually does not want to do away with that PNA. That dominant ridge, you can see it right there, just gets set up, bam, right there, and then it just holds strong. You can see that that ridge remains in place. It's stationary over the eastern half of the United States. It's not a very pronounced ridge because we have all those shortwave features trying to break it down, but then especially right here, you can see it really holding strong. And it's just going to drive all of our severe weather action right in through there. There's going to be your severe weather quadrant again and again and again, multiple different times. So it's going to be a very active April, at least for the first half of April. We can't see too far out. I mean, we can obviously look at the CFS. Oh, yep. Thank you, Claire. Thank you so much. I looked up at the same time you had said that. There we go. We're back. So as we get each of these bowling ball-like features, a look at the AI model actually does have that area of low pressure, but further towards the north than what the European model has. That could be a big-time event for us. This could be bad if it does hold together. Yeah, look at that ripping low-level jet, too. That could be a very intense setup for us here in the south. We shall see. Obviously, this is way far out. Really nicely negatively tilted trough, too. That is a rapidly tilting trough as well. That thing is so progressive. You can see it just curl up into itself. So we'll have to watch this. I guess we'll have to see what happens as we get past the first week of April, what our models show, because the AI, this would definitely be a severe weather outbreak. 150%. I can confidently say that from this far away. Yeah, look at the dew points down there. You got 70-degree dew points down in southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, coming in right off the Gulf. That is a perfect low latitude severe weather setup. You don't really need to look at too much to figure that out. Yeah, look at that nice little cutoff feature embedded within the ridge, and then it phases up with the rest of the cold air. And there's your pattern flip. So maybe that's also what the Euro is calling for, because now you can see we have completely reduced that ridge and knocked it out into the Atlantic. And we've got us replaced with dominant troughing over the east United States. And then it just kind of hangs out there as well. So we'll see. Models are indicating the pattern is going to flip again, which could be an indication that at least cooler temperatures are going to possibly try to return. I know these anomalies look scary, but don't let anyone out there fool you. It's not going to be immense cold weather. I mean, you switch over the temperatures and look at that. Even though the cool anomalies are there, let me show you one more time. Look at those dark anomalies, and people will try to use this to, Arctic, that no. It's just, remember, this is April, so any dose of polar air is going to look well below average because it's April time, and we're just coming out of a negative PNA pattern. So if you switch over to your actual temperatures, notice that even though we're bathed in those cool anomalies, we're still looking at the 80s in Texas, looking at the mid-70s here in Florida. It's not, it's spring. So even though those cooler temps are going to try to invade, we're done with the freezing weather. We're done with that. It's not coming back again. And this is actually pretty good news for a lot of us in the South to get rid of these drought conditions, because we definitely need it. We distinctly need it. The wildfire risk is going up and up and up. We've had wildfires popping left and right. But this one definitely has my attention. That is a textbook major severe weather setup at all levels, too. Oh, we don't have 700. Oh, we have the 700 millibar. Never mind. What about 12Z? Is it there? Nope. I guess we don't get 700 millibars on the Euro AI model. Was it there at 12Z? Oh, it was there at 12Z too. So the Euro has it trending. Oh, the AI model, I should say, has it trending. Yeah, look at that. Nice little Gulf Coast ripper. That is a very pronounced area of low pressure, so we'll have to watch that closely, especially for you out there, Mike, and whoever else might be out there in the New Orleans area. And, yeah, because that could definitely be big time. That looks kind of sporty. Yeah, definitely kind of sporty. I'd be a little concerned about that one if it holds together. Look at that. Nice progressive trough that goes negatively tilted. That would definitely be a prime setup for severe weather. Excellent difluent quadrant, excellent exhaust for your low-level flow, proper lift. What does the 500 millibar level look like? Oh, yeah. Nice little bowling ball feature there. So we'll have to see. There's your Jetmax as well. You got like 80 to 90 knot winds in the base of that trough there. Looks like a 90 knot wind barb right near the Beaumont, Texas area, getting ready to cross into southwest Louisiana. So yeah, several bouts of severe weather are indeed coming, as the name of the video implies. Several rounds of severe weather leading into April, and even beyond that, this definitely looks like we could have severe weather patterns shifting all over the place, and I'm going to keep a close eye on this one. I don't think it warrants sounding the alarm just yet. It is showing up on several models. What do the ensembles for the GFS have? Of course, the GFS has nothing. GFS has the negative PNA holding together. What does the Euro have? Yeah, the Euro has it down there. There it is. The Euro ensemble does have it. So our ensembles are carrying it as well. We'll have to wait and see. But we have this weekend. We have following couple days, early April, and then we're watching from the 6th to the 8th of April, and probably beyond that as well. Oh yeah, the no-name storm, the storm of the century in 93, it did have that textbook comma shape, and that was a real serious outbreak. Sometimes I'll go on cyclonic weather. Sometimes. We have Elar Natil, however you say that name, almost demanding that I answer a question. Please don't use that kind of vocabulary in the chat. I'll get to your question at my earliest convenience. Ken, welcome in. Good to see you either way. We're just getting ready to round out the discussion as well. We're getting ready to close out. Chris Mazel, a giant thank you for the $10 donation. I sincerely appreciate it. Genuinely appreciate it. Big time. Means a lot. It really does. As tired and as off the chain as I am tonight, too, I was not going to miss doing a live stream. I wanted to do one on Monday, but I just did not have a chance. I still need to work on my time management, and I can openly admit that. But folks, if you could please nudge that like button, we're going to get ready to close out this live discussion. We are past the 30-minute mark. That is another rule of thumb that I've created for this channel. If we're not actively covering a severe or a tropical or a winter weather event, I'm going to try to keep these live streams capped at about 30, maybe 35 minutes, and I'm going to try to stop my soapboxes and the rants that I like to go on at the end of these just for the sake of keeping the content squished. Sunday, that's when we're looking at the severe weather getting ready to work into North Carolina. I don't think it'll be quite there yet. I think we'll be seeing more of a Monday type event for North Carolina, but let's take it through one last time. So there's Friday into Saturday, and then Sunday, you start to see a little bit of that action, and then on Monday, that's when the stuff really gets going. You can see on Monday there. Depends on where you are, rain coming on Sunday. But yes, there is a pretty decent amount of rainfall in the pattern, thankfully. So we're finally going to break free of the drought situation that we've been battling for a while. End of stream rants, our signature. I love that. I love that. Maybe not tonight. I don't really have the bandwidth tonight, to tell you the truth. I do and I don't. I always have the bandwidth to just rant. I feel like that's when everything comes out as natural as it could ever be. When I'm looking at the science and everything is going through my mind, like that one gif of the girl looking like this with all the math equations, then sometimes it'll come out a little weird or a little lopsided. But the rants, they come from the heart, so I can just ad-lib that again and again and again. So yeah, there's going to be plenty of those this upcoming hurricane season, which, by the way, AccuWeather released their forecast for this season. They're predicting 3 to 6 direct U.S. landfalls, which I do agree with. Can definitely see that. And believe it or not, AccuWeather is right in line with what we're thinking, because they highlighted the Eastern Gulf from about the New Orleans, Baton Rouge area through to the west coast of Florida, and they're saying the Carolinas up to Virginia will have to watch, as well as Atlantic Canada. So it's nice to have another figure out there, AccuWeather. I know some people, they're not a big fan of them, but I'll still take that as a bit of a win here for this personal channel. AccuWeather is seeing the same thing we are. They're pinpointing the Eastern Gulf, the Carolinas, the Mid-Atlantic, and up the Northeast. They'll have to watch for potential impacts this year. So at least we're not completely out to lunch in what we're speculating and what we have been speculating since January. Now other folks are finally coming in line with that. They're also predicting 13 to 18 named storms. They're thinking it could be on par with the last hurricane season. And again, I do agree with that. I do. Thank you, David. It was very nice to see you and all of my friends here. Much needed for a little... Oh, absolutely. It's great to have you with us. It really is. And I sincerely mean that. It's always nice to see all the familiar faces popping up in the live stream. It kind of reinvigorates my passion for talking with everybody. Because I'll tell you, sometimes I am so wiped out at the end of the day. That's why I keep rubbing my eyes right now. And I know that's very unprofessional of me, but my eyes feel like sandpaper. So... But I was not going to miss this live discussion. This weekend, I have my sister, which is a totally different story that I will unveil for you at a later date and time, coming in to visit Florida, so I will be unavailable, but I'm still going to try to crank out some live updates, whether it be over at News 6 or here in the Weather Center. So definitely going to continue to do the coverage, especially as we get started with this severe weather pattern. Bernie's good. He is good. I like to watch some of his stuff, although I will admit he definitely busted wide open with the Sarah cone that he made last hurricane season. A lot of people were upset about that, to where he issued a formal apology because of it. Claire, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's very kind of you. You know my thinking on hurricane season? Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I do agree with you. I have to keep it humble, April. I have to keep it humble. Because I know that despite how hard I work to try to be one of the best, there is still so much out there that I've only barely scratched the surface of. If I've even touched it yet, there's probably a lot of meteorology out there that I have not even looked at that I can't wait to dive into. And Lord willing, I have plenty of years to dedicate to that and then bring it all to the table with you all. That's why I want this channel to grow. That is my number one reason, nothing else. I'm already doing my meteorology career with News 6. So I have no other reason. So everybody out there who thinks I'm still clickbaiting, still thinks I'm hyping, I don't need to do that. I've never done it. I don't need to do that. The main reason I want this channel to grow is to be one of the greatest focal points for a weather community that I could possibly be. That's it. I just want to bring all this exciting information and all this wonderful information and educational bit and just updates as best I can and just become a better communicator and a better friend to everybody out there. A lot of people get pissed at me for that, but I do consider everybody in these chats friends of mine. Oh yeah, definitely. I'll be on Just Weather. Don't you dare, David. I'm with April. Thank you very much, Claire. Thank you. Caitlin, this is Tropical Tidbits here. No, I agree with you there, Robbie, as well, Robbie Lynn. Because last year, I'm not going to, you guys can see it in the chat, I'm not going to say it out loud, but that last year was the one who went just crazy with the predictions. Crazy with the predictions. But yeah, guys, there it is. That's all she wrote. We're going to go ahead and end the discussion. I'm very excited because next month is going to be a big month. So please, 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 if you haven't done so already, hit that like button, share this information. Let's get this channel in front of eyes and viewers, because there's a lot of other folks out there who just they'll put out a random video about nothing pretty much, and they'll get hundreds of thousands of views. The content that I'm going to be working on for next month, talking to Mike Brennan, talking hopefully to Kevin Guthrie from the emergency operations here in Florida for my Floridians out there, talking to Phil Klotzbach, talking to everybody out there that I possibly can out in New Orleans during the Hurricane Conference. Mark Sudduth will be there. I'm going to drop him a line and try to do some collaboration with him as well. With all the information that I'm going to pull for you guys, we need to get this information. We need to get this channel back on the mark. And I know I shot myself in the foot, and I've been very lazy, very tired, and I haven't sucked it up for you guys, but I'm going to do that now. So I need your help. Got to hit the likes, drop the comments. Even if you just even if you leave random comments just saying thank you or something, drop them in the comments section. Let's get YouTube to notice that people are engaging with this channel, okay? And I sincerely mean that, because I'm going to work really hard next month to bring you all kinds of tropical content. All kinds of tropical content from the conference. I'm going to be streaming at the conference. I'm going to be doing after-action reports from the conference. I'm going to be talking to people at the conference. I hope that we have hurricane hunters out there. I hope that we have folks with information on the hurricane models out there, how they performed. We had a meeting today at News 6. Great discussion. We have a lot of stuff that we're brainstorming that I'm going to bring back for you all as well. So I'm really looking forward to sharing all that with you. And with that being said, I'm going to close out. I can see people drifting off into the evening. I hope you've had a fantastic first half of the week. I hope that Wednesday has treated you well. And I can't wait to bring you all what we have in store over the next couple weeks. And then I'll tell you the truth. I know that we're still 2 months away, but as of April 1st, no April Fools. I forgot that that's going to show up in the stream. Whoops. See, you can tell I'm very tired. Look at that, bringing the chat over and exposing everybody. I'm so sorry. But anyways, now I lost my train of thought. All right. In conclusion, I just can't wait to bring you all the discussions and the information. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a solid time, and I want you all to be a part of it. I really do. So thank you all so much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday night. I'm going to go eat and get some rest because we have a lot of stuff to do, a lot of things I'm working on, a lot of studying that I got to keep doing, and we'll talk to you all again very soon. April, best wishes, thoughts, and prayers to you and everybody else out there who may be struggling with their own battles that they just haven't disclosed in the chat. Sending you guys much love and positive thoughts and energy, whatever energy I have left in a positive spirit bomb your way. And we'll talk to you again very soon. But until next time, this is Weather Center Nazario, signing out.